It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time to finally dig into the Anbernic RG477M and decide if this aluminum shell is the ultimate retro handheld or if it's just another device on the market. Let's find out right after this. Hey fam, Swati Konkret Pinik here, and thank you all for watching this video and all of my videos. I appreciate all of my current subscribers and all of my initial subscribers. I know my channel's still relatively small, but we're sitting at 140 subscribers, and I love how the channel is growing, and I hope that we can continue to grow this platform. And I've made this channel for you, the viewers, not for myself. I wanted to bring a different type of approach to reviews of handhelds than what was currently on the market, and that's why I made this. And we've already had our first member giveaway, which I announced last week, what they picked and that they'd already had it received. And I look forward to our next winner. And if you're a relatively new subscriber and you wonder how you can participate in the subscriber giveaways, at the end of the video in my outro graphics, I'll have a card that you can click on that's about 3 minutes long explaining how the member giveaways go. And they will be in perpetuity for as long as I continue to make videos on YouTube. So good luck to future members. And before we get started in the actual review, let's go over the different categories. And before we get started, let's go over the structure of the review. Each of my reviews consist of 7 different categories, and each category is rated 0 to 69, with those categories being the unboxing experience, internals, first impressions, ease of use, customizability, controls, and value. After that, we'll put it all together by giving an average score to the nearest whole number of each of the categories for an overall score. And then I'll give you my top 4 pros and cons, followed by who I think should consider this device and who should consider passing on this device. So without further ado, let's get to the unboxing experience. Well, if you watched my unboxing video, you would know that it comes in a nice solid white box with a shadow outline of the device with the metallic model number, which I thought was clean and classy. I love that you lift the lid and the device is protected by foam on all sides. Then you lift that up and you get your nice first look at this beautiful CNC aluminum chassis, and it just screams premium as soon as you see it. Lift that up and you find a nice little tray. As you would know, we get a tempered glass screen protector. Nice points there. You get a USB-C to USB-A charging cable. Nice points there. Of course, you get your traditional manual. And then you even get a frosted white silicone case. Now, as you can see, I'm rocking this guy without the case, but I love that we get that option. For some that don't want the feel of metal, it's a great option to still have a metal device with the extra sturdiness that the metal gives, but also at the same time get the silicone feel if that's what you prefer. Me, I prefer the metal feel, and I feel like I'm careful enough with my devices that I don't worry about it and I keep it without the case. But again, I love that we get that because not everybody gives that. So extra points that they consider these things for us. This is a thoughtful unboxing experience that earns it a very strong 61 out of 69 points. It sets a premium first impression upon opening the box. Now let's take a peek under the hood to see if the specs back it all up. Starting off with our color options, we get chocolate bronze or silver blade. And as you can see, I got the silver blade, but the chocolate bronze is very beautiful, and I had thought that would be my preference. However, I thought the silver blade would look better on camera, but after receiving the device, I don't know, just something about the natural aluminum look gives it an industrial look and feel that I really love. So again, my personal preference. Let me know down in the comment section below. Are you a chocolate bronze or a silver blade fan? That said, as I just mentioned a moment ago, the material isn't plastic on this device. You get high quality CNC aluminum alloys to keep this device feeling sturdy and premium. And when you pick it up, you get that nice cool touch of metal. Just gives it a really premium feel, and I love it. The display is a 4.7-inch LTPS in-cell IPS display with a 1280 by 960 resolution, coupled with a 120 hertz refresh rate, which gives you a crisp and smooth IPS that's hard to beat. The SoC that comes inside of it, and if you're not familiar with SoC, that means system on a chip, which includes the CPU and the GPU, along with some other internals, is the Dimensity 8300, which is an octa-core processor with the Mali G615 MC6 GPU. It's a powerful mid to high tier CPU GPU combo. And as far as RAM and storage go, you get 8 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM with 128 gigabytes of internal storage, or 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM with 256 gigabytes of UFS storage. It's snappy for multitasking and great for game storage. It really boils down to, if you want to future-proof your device, spend the extra money for the RAM and extra storage space. If you're fine with a micro SD card, and if you're fine with PS2 and below and never feel like you're going to need above that, the 8 gigabyte with 128 gigabyte of storage would be more than enough. Just throw in a micro SD card and you're sitting pretty. The device comes out of the box with Android 14 with modern support. So I really appreciate that we have full Google Play Store and whatnot. So if you're familiar with Android on your phones, you're going to feel right at home here. And as far as connectivity goes, we get Wi-Fi 6E with Bluetooth 5.3. And I appreciate that we're getting these modern touches because, again, if we've already upgraded our Wi-Fi in the last couple of years, you can make sure you're getting the most out of that Wi-Fi with your new handheld. The battery is 5,300 milliamp hours, which is bigger than anything Samsung has ever thrown in any of their phones, which I think is hilarious and awesome of Anbernic, which should net you about 7 hours of gameplay, depending on what system you're playing. Obviously, if you're playing PS2, that'll be probably closer to about 3 hours of playtime. And it is capable of 27-watt charging. And I can confirm I have a USB-C charging cable that shows what your actual wattage is that you're charging at. And with the device turned off, I was able to get 27 watts when the battery was sitting at near zero. So kudos to them for actually giving us fast charging on this device. And then let's talk about the extras you get with this device. You get RGB around your joysticks. You get gyroscopic support for games that require gyroscopes. You have an active cooling system with an actual fan on this device to keep it nice and cool. You get over-the-air updates just like you would on your phone to keep the software on your device as up-to-date as possible. You get Type-C video out. So for example, you could get a USB-C to HDMI cable connected that way. And of course, you also get stereo speakers, which I appreciate. Being able to have stereo speakers gives you that extra oomph in your sound. And again, for this type of money, that's a must, and I'm glad that they give it to us. So that said, specs-wise, this machine lands at a 56 out of 69. Not the ultimate flagship, but closer to high-end than entry-level, especially at this price point. Now that we know what's inside, let's see how it feels in the hand. And let's talk first impressions. And as I mentioned previously, the CNC aluminum is cool to touch when you first pick it up, and the device has really great curved sides. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but it feels super comfortable in the hand with no sharp edges. The silver blade colorway feels industrial and premium. The Skittles buttons scream nostalgia and a lot of fun to me. I prefer them over just black buttons all day, every day. The inline sticks suit PlayStation fans such as myself. However, the inline shoulder buttons are less than ideal for fans like us that love our stacked buttons. And I know it's hard to see on the camera, but there is a good at least lip between the, in this case, L2 and L1. And again, I don't think that the screen is doing justice to this device. The IPS display on this is absolutely gorgeous with 120 hertz refresh rate, keeps the device looking smooth and allows you to be able to use shaders such as CRT beam shaders to give you that retro look if that's what you want. It may not be OLED, but it is absolutely probably the best IPS display I've ever seen, right there with its brother device that uses the same device, the RG Slide. So kudos to Anbernic for sourcing a fantastic 4.7-inch IPS display. So my first impressions, I have to give it a solid 59 out of 69. Nearly top-notch comfort and display, only held back by the shoulder button layout and the lack of an OLED display. With the foundation set, let's talk about how easy is it to actually use. Well, again, one of the beautiful things about this device is that it uses Android 14. So if you've been using Android for any number of years, you're going to be highly familiar with this. Even if you've been using iOS over the last couple of years, the last couple of updates on iOS have really brought it closer to Android. So you're going to feel much closer at home than you think you would if you've always been an iOS user. I love that we can easily download RetroArch from the Play Store, and you can get ESDE if you subscribe to their Patreon one time for $5 and then cancel your subscription. You'll be on their newsletter, and every time there's an update, you'll automatically get that. And you can also get things like Obtainium, which helps you fetch standalone emulators, and it keeps them up to date like the Play Store keeps your apps up to date. So that way, you know, all of your standalone emulators are going to be up to speed. Just like, for example, if you have your standalone PS2 emulator or your Switch emulator, those will all be kept up to date without any issue thanks to Obtainium. Now, the Mali GPU drivers are weaker than the Adreno drivers that are called turnip drivers. So high-end emulation requires a bit of tinkering, to be fully honest with you. It's great for techies, less so good for plug-and-play users. So that in mind, I have to give the ease of use a 42 out of 69. Slightly above average. It's not pick up and play simple, but the Android pros will feel right at home with it. Now let's see how customizable this little beast can get. In the box, you get that frosted white case and you get a screen protector. And the fine folks over at Etsy and AliExpress already have some accessories available, with more coming soon. I've already spoken with some Etsy creators that plan to be releasing a number of accessories for this, and I'm really excited maybe about a good grip on this device, for example, because it does have that flat back. And because it is Android, you get multiple front ends if you wish. You could use Pegasus. Again, you could use ESDE. And, in all honesty, RetroArch is its own back end and front end. So you would be able to use RetroArch as your only front end if that is what you wish as well. And of course, because it is Android, you get YouTube, you get Netflix, and other things like that. So turn on your Spotify on your device and listen to Spotify while you play games. Absolutely easy to do. It has highly flexible software, as I just mentioned. And of course, the physical personalization doesn't just stop there. You can also change out the sticks, or you can put on stick caps. Like I've put on my stick caps from my Action Pi to put the Plumber Man on there, even though I wish one was the one with a red cap and the other was the plumber with a green cap. Give it more uniqueness on a per stick basis, but I'm not going to complain about that. They were, after all, free caps with my Action Pi. So that said, this category shines for this device really with a 63 out of 69. Between hardware options and Android flexibility, customization is nearly limitless with this device. But how does it feel to actually play the device? Let's test the controls. Well, the 4-way D-pad is an SNES style, and it's quiet and it's accurate, which I can't say enough. I'm glad it's not clickety-clackety like some devices I've tested recently. The 4-face buttons here, ABXY, of course in a Nintendo format, so BAYX, are nice and quiet with good amount of travel as well. So I can't complain about that. And again, I love the colorful buttons. It just screams to my inner child seeing those colors. So I really love it. And again, being a PlayStation fan, for me, I'm an inline stick guy, and they are accurate TMR sticks with RGB lighting around it. I have it set up where they light up. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but only where I am pointing my stick. And I love that. I kind of love how that looks personally. But if you want your RGB light on, changing colors in a circle around it, absolutely you can do that and it'll be perfectly fine. And because they are those TMR sticks, they are one of the most accurate sticks you could possibly get on a handheld. I hope the next PlayStation controllers will be using TMR sticks, but we'll see what Sony decides to do there in the future. Now, let's bring it to the shoulder buttons. They are functional, but they are in line instead of stacked. And I would always prefer stacked, even if it was meant a little hump on each side. Give us the stacked. And they are the clickiest buttons on the device. I can't deny it. That's the biggest drawback for me, is I'm a big proponent of the quiet buttons across all buttons. And anything on the top, including the volume up and down and the power button, click, 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 click every time you press it. Now, again, I understand people love mechanical keyboards and that clickety-clackety nature. And if that's you, you're going to love these inline shoulder buttons. But if it's not you, if you like the quiet membrane keyboard like I do, where it's just as you type away at work, then you'll probably not like this. I just have to be as fully honest as possible with you. But again, I love that these sticks just pop off, and you can put on higher profile sticks if you want more accuracy and more travel. If you want low profile to put them in your pockets, you can absolutely put those on as well. And you can get those easily on AliExpress, on Etsy. I've never used them, but Hype Sticks on Etsy make some fantastic sticks. For example, they have transparent ones. So again, if you have the RGB lighting on, that could be a really cool effect. So, hey, I would love to try Hype Sticks myself. I just haven't got my hands on them yet. So the controls land at a more than respectable 57 out of 69. Nearly excellent. They're responsive and highly customizable, but the noise and inline shoulders keep it from perfection, in my opinion. And that brings us to the ultimate balancing act, value. Well, again, as I've mentioned, this device feels premium. It has high to mid specs at half the price of flagship handhelds, which is obviously quite nice. I don't want to have to spend $500 on every device, so I'm glad that we have this type of device. It has strong PS2 and GameCube play, as well as, of course, has an excellent Android gaming scene. So if you want to download from the Play Store some games, you can absolutely do that and have a great time with that. It's less suited for PS3 or Switch today due to the GPU limitations from the Mali GPU. But that said, I know companies like GameSir are working with MediaTek to improve the Mali drivers, to improve that GPU performance on these devices, which these devices need a good GPU for those types of emulations. So it has good long-term potential if the Mali drivers do improve as anticipated. One thing of note is the fan can be a bit loud on strong mode, but Anbernic has already promised a patch that should quiet it down. And the speakers are loud just without the low bass. But as you can see, they're downward firing and they're actually in a good place. So you're not going to get your hand on them while you're playing a game. So would be more ideal up top, don't get me wrong, but they're at least out of the way of your fingers. So value-wise, this lands at a fair 50 out of 69 in my humble opinion. A solid deal if you want a mid-high range performance in a premium 4.3 package. Now, let's add it all up and put it together. So for our categories today, we got 61 out of 69 for unboxing, 56 for the specs. First impressions got a 59, with ease of use getting a 42. Customizability got a 63. Controls got a 57. And value got a 50 out of 69. And if we put that all together, the overall score will net us a 55 out of 69, which is still a fantastic device and still one of the top devices that I've rated this year. As far as the top pros of this device, again, I have to scream the premium CNC aluminum build with great overall ergonomics for a device that has flat back. I would have preferred maybe a little bit more of a hump, but still a very comfortable device to play on for an hour. Your hand won't feel cramped because it's a good size. And I have to admit, it's a gorgeous 4.7-inch screen with that 4:3 aspect ratio, perfect for retro games. And it handles 120 hertz without any issues, so you can use those shaders and still make those games look as retro as you want. I love the extreme customizability of the device. Between the hardware and the Android support, you have customizability inside and out to really make this device your own, and I love that. And for its price tier, you have strong higher-end mid-range performance. And again, it's a really good value for that. As far as cons go, again, inline shoulder buttons and noisy buttons up top. Again, IPS is not an OLED. So while as beautiful as this gorgeous display is, it could be even better if it was OLED. The Mali GPU driver limitations are holding back from high-end emulation. Hopefully, GameSir and other companies will be able to help drive forward the Mali GPU drivers so we can have better performance in the near future. And again, at the moment, the fan noise on strong mode can be a bit loud. But again, we'll see what Anbernic does with their software update. So who should consider this device? Well, first and foremost, I think tech heads. People that love tinkering with Android emulators and custom front ends will be in heaven with this device because you can tinker with it for days and days without losing interest in it. And again, I think aesthetics lovers will really love this device as well because they are usually people looking for a premium feeling device, and this aluminum chassis delivers on that in spades. Who should consider skipping it? Well, people that need or want plug-and-play systems only, they probably should seek something else. And high-end hunters, those that need high-end PS3 emulation or Switch emulation, may want to hold off today. So, is this the ultimate retro handheld? With an overall score of 55 out of 69, I'd say it's definitely close, but not quite there. It nails the build quality. It nails the customizability and nostalgia factors. But GPU drivers, fan noise, and the shoulder button situation hold it back from a true ultimate status. Still, for the right person, it's a truly excellent device. That said, I want to hear what you think of this device. Have you got your hands on this device yet? Have you seen any other reviews on this device? What do you think of this device? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until next time, this has been P-Nick.